Hi, my name is Alex and I'm going to be showing you my custom rig that I did for this character. The mesh is taken from a polycount forum. The model is made by Jonas Georgakakis. I hope that's how it's pronounced. Before starting, I looked into how other people go about into color coding and creating helpers, just to give me some idea of what I can do. This video, for example, is by QRE12. He creates a custom helpers that are differently shaped rather than just having circles and gimbals and such. They actually tell you exactly visually what they can do. So for Animator, it's much easier to just grab them and instantly knows if that rotates or moves or what it does. Different things I looked at also was, like I mentioned, color coding. So like this, for example, like we can see the head is different color, the right side, the left side is all different colors, so visually it's easier to read. Also the helpers are big and easy to grab. To begin with, I made a handy selection of layers, so bones, mesh, helpers all are on a separate layers. IK and FK bones are also on a separate layer. It's because it was just easier for me to rig that way. So if you want to just have a mesh and the helpers without the bones getting in the way, that's perfectly easy to do with the layers. Everything's color coded as well. So his left hand side is all blue, the other side is green, the head's red, and the spine is yellow. So it's just easy to recognize all the parts. The helpers are also accordingly colored. So we can see the green helpers on the green side, and so on. To begin with, show you this first. The black box on the floor. If you select that, you can move the whole mesh all together with the bones and the helpers. Everything follows, so you can move it wherever you want. Now the legs. I'll show you the bones as well. The bones, to begin with, were supposed to be triple IK foot rig. So you can see two sets of bones, the leg and the foot. I found a great tutorial on Paul Niles' website. He has various tutorials, and the triple IK link is here. I tried to follow it, and it might be my fault. I probably didn't connect something properly or missed something little, but not all the gimbals were working, not all the controls were doing what they were supposed to do. So because of time constraints, I just ended up keeping the basic controls for it. So it's not ideal, but you get at least the basic controls. So you see with a skin on the back gimbal, if you rotate that, it rotates down the ankle. The front moves up and down, moves the toe. The front of the knee, there is a circle here, so you can rotate, swivel the knee. To lift the whole leg, to control all of it, you have the egg-shaped kind of helper on the bottom, which you can move as well, so everything follows, all the bones and all the helpers as well, which is handy because then you can grab the gimbals and move them as well wherever you move the leg. Now on the hips, he has a loop going around, which you can move and rotate. Rotate whichever way you want. So that controls his hips. For the spine, it's not very great. I'll show you the bones first. It's not very great. It's quite limited. You can only move one of the helpers at a time. You can't move all of them because it would just mess up the rig. It isn't very convenient. The bones don't stretch, but you can still rotate them, move them, rotate them in each direction, and it works well. Those dummies are there because I had troubles with connecting the helpers directly to the bone, so that's why they had to be there. On the mesh, it works fine. So as you can see, it bends correctly. It's just that you can't move them together, which isn't very convenient, like I mentioned before. but for the basics it works, and so it has the basic movements. Shoulder movements. This is just the shoulder one, and down the arm I use the IK and FK blend for the whole arm. So each of the gimbal that controls the arm have a attribute holder and a modifier that has a spinner that blends between IK and FK. To show you that, I'll move the IK system over there. If I change the value of the slider, it blends between IK and FK points. So the IK is the red, the turquoise is the FK. You can also rotate the wrist, no problems, and rotate the elbow. There's also a separate setup for the fingers, so we can bend the thumb, fingers in each individually, have a full control over it. Of course, the other arm is all the same length. It works the same and together with all the lengths of the fingers. The red gimbal at the back allows you to swivel the elbow, so it works, of course, the same for the other one as well. For the head, there is a quite big gimbal above his head. At the beginning it was in the front, but it was kind of getting in the way of viewing what's actually going on with the mesh, so I moved it up above his head, so you can rotate it, do whatever you need to, however you need to animate it. The hair also has its own separate little rig with a simple control of rotating the ponytail. Also, some of the gimbals have locks in them. For example, these on the head, you can't move them. Nothing will happen if you try to move them, because I've put the locks on so that they can only be rotated. You can't also scale it or anything like that. So it stops from anyone who wants to animate it, stops them from basically messing up the rig. Like these on the knees only have the Z-axis of move unlocked, so you can't move them in any other direction or rotate them. As for skinning, like you could see when I was demonstrating you the actual rig, it's not too bad. It doesn't stretch, it doesn't deform the mesh too bad. There are some places that it does, like if you move the leg, it stretches a bit at the back, which could have been fixed quite easily with blending the envelopes a bit more. There's still quite a lot of things to fix, like for example, some shapes of the gimbals don't really represent what they actually do. Like this one, for example, over there with the toe control, you can move it up and down, but it looks like you can actually rotate it, which you can't. So I'll probably change those to make them more visually readable, and making the animator an easier job to figuring out what actually does what visually. Another thing I would be more useful, especially for this character, is adding some kind of muscle system implementation into the rig, as the character is muscly in itself. But if you lift the leg, you can see the muscles don't really blend. I tried to do that with blending the envelopes. It works here a little bit, but doesn't work all the way. So it might have been a good idea to use something like this. This video shows a rig of a rhino, which has a really good muscle deformation, which would work very well for a muscly character, especially like this one. I would also change the spine system, because it's not very convenient. It doesn't give you a lot of freedom to deform it, and you can't select one of them and all the other follows. So I would probably change it to custom spline NK like we learned in the week 8 of the tutorials. So it'll be much more appropriate to a humanoid character like this. But yes, that's basically my rig, and thank you for watching.